after the news.
BBC News. Hello, this is Jerry Smith. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas appears to be holding, as people in both Gaza and Israel have woken to clear, calm skies after 11 days of bombardments. Sebastian Usher reports.
The clean-up operation has begun in Gaza as people venture back out onto streets filled with rubble. Overnight there were celebrations as Palestinians claimed victory in the latest conflict with Israel. With more than 230 people dead, landmark towers brought down and hundreds of millions of dollars of damage to infrastructure, Gaza's immediate future is extremely challenging. Across the border in Israel, the army has removed almost all emergency restrictions on movement, as the government claims to have achieved its aim of disabling Hamas's military capability. But the mayors of two of the towns hardest hit by rocket fire have criticized the ceasefire as premature, saying that it should have carried on till Hamas was eliminated.
The World Health Organization says the number of coronavirus-related deaths is likely to be 2 or 3 times higher than officially reported. The current official number of COVID deaths is 3.4 million. But in its global health statistics for 2020, the WHO said between 6 and 8 million was a more realistic estimate. The WHO says a number of reasons may explain the lower estimate. It said that at the start of the pandemic, many people had died before being diagnosed with COVID, and that many countries didn't have adequate systems to record virus-related deaths. Britain's Justice Secretary says the government has a responsibility to examine whether the governance of the BBC needs to change, in the light of a damning report into its handling of a 1995 interview with Princess Diana. An independent inquiry found the interview was obtained by deception and that the BBC didn't properly investigate concerns raised at the time. The BBC has apologised. The Minister, Robert Buckland, said doing nothing was not an option.
It wasn't just the decision of a reporter or a production team. There were decisions made much further up the chain about the conduct of these individuals that have now proved, according to Lord Dyson, to be unfounded and wrong.
Thousands of Australian students have walked out of school to attend protests calling for action on climate change. Shaima Khalil reports from Sydney.
Protesters, some marching in their school uniform, have called for a stop to new coal, oil and gas projects in Australia. They also said they wanted 100% renewable energy generation and exports by 2030, as well as clear plans for a transition away from fossil fuel jobs. Australia is one of the world's biggest carbon emitters per capita. The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, has faced sustained criticism over the government's climate policy.
World News from the BBC. Police in central India say at least 13 suspected far-left rebels have been killed in an operation in Nagpur. They said a shootout started when commandos intercepted a group of Maoist rebels holding a meeting in a dense forest area. Argentina has imposed 9 days of strict lockdown from tomorrow in an effort to control a second wave of coronavirus. More than 72,000 people have died from the virus so far. Nicolas Rocha has the details.
Argentina's President Alberto Fernandez announced a strict lockdown following this week's steep rises in the number of infections. The country's reported a record 39,000 new cases on Wednesday, and hospitals are struggling to cope. Mr. Fernandez said schools and non-essential businesses would remain closed until the end of the month, and social, religious and sporting events would be banned. Non-essential workers won't be allowed out at night. The government also said it would accelerate its vaccination plan. So far, less than 5% of Argentina's population has been fully vaccinated.
Spain says most of the thousands of migrants who entered the enclave of Ceuta this week have returned to Morocco. The Interior Minister said the situation there was now much calmer and the authorities were working to help minors and other vulnerable people still in the territory. During the week, about 8,000 people entered Ceuta from Morocco. The minister said 6,500 had now been sent back. The influx began after Morocco appeared to loosen border controls, in what correspondents say was a retaliation for Spain hosting the independence leader from Western Sahara, a territory Morocco claims. A wildfire is raging for the second day in central Greece. The blaze has destroyed farms, vineyards and holiday homes across more than 150 square kilometres. And those are the latest stories from BBC News.
This is The Real Story from the BBC. I'm Paul Henley, in for Ritula Shah, with your weekly deep dive into a story that's making news and changing lives. And this week, China has joined a very small club of nations.
China's first mission to Mars has succeeded in putting a spacecraft safely on the planet's surface.
China is now undoubtedly one of the world's leading nations in interplanetary exploration.
This is our first Mars mission, and we have achieved innovation by completing orbiting and landing on the Red Planet in one mission. No country in the world has done both steps in one mission, and we've made it.
This feat comes hot on the heels of the country's successful return to Earth of samples from the Moon and the launch into orbit of the first module of its new space station. When the International Space Station is retired, Beijing might well end up controlling the only orbiting laboratory available. Decades of ambition are now coming to fruition, but what ultimately are China's aims in space?
From the Chinese perspective, space benefits Chinese diplomacy, Chinese technology. It's a great advertisement. It reinforces the legitimacy of the Chinese Communist Party to its own people. Space always has military implications. And conversely, by going to Mars, it demonstrates that China can contribute to what they term the global pool of human knowledge.
Well, the process of expanding that global pool of human knowledge usually involves deep scientific collaboration and transparency. China's space agency is more guarded than its counterparts in the West, and an incident in 2007 increased fears about the potential for the militarization of space.
The Chinese government has for the first time publicly confirmed that it conducted an anti-satellite test earlier this month. Beijing said it used a medium-range ballistic missile to destroy one of its own weather satellites high in space.
China has informed certain countries, including the United States, about the anti-satellite missile test we have recently conducted in outer space. What needs to be stressed is that China has always advocated the peaceful use of space and opposes the weaponization of space. China has never participated and will never participate in any arms race in outer space.
With international treaties governing human activity in space now decades old, and with geopolitical competition between East and West likely to get worse, not better, is a new space race inevitable? And if so, what are the costs of humanity pushing out into the cosmos, as divided as we are here on Earth? Well, it's an inspiring yet mysterious subject we're looking into this week, and we've brought together some of the planet's most informed English-speaking experts on China's space program to tell us what's new and what isn't. Let's meet them. First, Brian Harvey, historian and author of the book China in Space, The Great Leap Forward. He's followed the expansion of the country's capabilities for years and joins us from Ireland. Brian, welcome. When it comes to China's space program, what do you think the primary goals are?
We know because the Chinese government has told us over the years in a series of white papers. There are essentially four goals. One is to use the space program as an instrument for the technological modernization of China. Second, it is to develop space science and applications and drive forward a science program so that China may, in its view, be the world's leading scientific nation in the world by the year 2050. Third, it's about using spacecraft for Earth observation, for navigation, for communications. A lot of the communications in China were modernized through satellites rather than by putting masts on hills like many of us have done in the West. And fourth, a rather interesting one which says it is to uplift national feelings. In other words, it's something that we should feel good about. But let's look all over the rest of the world. All other countries that have space programs generally feel good about their space programs, about their space achievements, whether it's the first space flight by Russia or the landing on the moon by the United States.
Caitlin Johnson is Deputy Director and a Fellow of the Aerospace Security Project at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, D.C. Caitlin, thanks for being here. How would you personally summarize China's aims in space?
Sure. Thank you, Paul, for having me. I think China's aims in space are multifaceted, and you can talk about both their civil and military space programs separately. Of course, they have similar aims in developing national pride and building out a STEM and, highly technologically focused workforce. But the civil space program is really devoted to exploring new areas of space, promoting science and international collaboration there, whereas their military program is really an enabling factor to a lot of modern military, how we've seen militaries in the West progress and enable themselves.
Dean Cheng is a senior research fellow in the Asian Studies Center at the Heritage Foundation in Washington, D.C. That's a conservative think tank. Dean, welcome. Would you say the Chinese government primarily wants all the official aims? Is there something else?
My thanks for the opportunity to be here today. I think the Chinese, when they talk about how space influences the nation, inevitably refer to what they term comprehensive national power. The idea is that you can't really measure a country's power by just its military or just its economic capacity, but also its level of science and technology, the size of its workforce, even cultural security. And from the Chinese perspective, space contributes to every one of these things. So it's not an accident that China uses its space program to tout the achievements of the CCP domestically, to push for greater commercial opportunities abroad, to build ties to countries from the Middle East to Southeast Asia, to build its military capability, and even to inspire people to join its workforce.
Thank you. Laura Forsick joins us too. She's a space analyst and founder of the Space What do you think China wants from space?
I think China is a lot like every other space player in that they want
of the Roots of
prestige, they
Africa
want
program.
to advance
In
their
today's
technology, they
program,
want
we
to
are
find
in
high-tech
Kenya,
jobs for
showcasing
their
the
people, as well as inspiring the next generation to pursue those high-tech jobs. They want scientific return, whether that is pure science in the terms of going and sending rovers to the moon and Mars, or whether that is science for the benefit of practical purpose, such as militaristic. So when you're thinking about China and how that differs then from, say, the United States, China has no separation from its civil and military space program. It's all one and the same, so they blend together. But there's also the added components of the emerging commercial space industry there in China, and how China sees inspiration from what the United States has done and some other countries around the world with building up a commercial space industry. And that should have tremendous growth potential for China in the future.
Having said hello to our four guests, let's start the discussion with a quick history lesson. That was the launch of the Shenzhou 5 mission back in...
The story of a British brand, a challenger brand started by two brothers with global ambitions. Andy was a big advocate of that story, and he's been a fantastic ambassador for us. He's one of a very small handful of genuinely globally recognised athletes, so it's a privilege for us to have him on board.
Now, you support and used to play for Tranmere Rovers. Condolences on last night's result. They're currently kit supplier is Puma. Are you going to get in there soon?
It's an interesting question, Ian. The strategy for us at this stage is to focus on clubs who have European aspirations. As you said earlier, we're lucky enough to be the partner of Glasgow Rangers, who have had a phenomenal season and will hopefully be competing in the Champions League next season. Wolves very much have aspirations to be competing at European level, so that's our focus at this stage. But of course, Tranmere are our local club, so never say never.
Well, best of luck for the second leg of the playoff. Sorry, Morecambe fans. Tom, good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian.
Well, still to come here on Ian King Live, I'll be joined by the head of fraud at Barclays to discuss how they're combating scams on tap platforms with a little help from one of the team behind the hit series Line of Duty. Don't go away.
Are you ready for another exciting episode of King Bongane III of Embo Kingdom?
Why God chose us to be placed in this continent that is so rich with minerals, so rich with everything?
Well, join us this Friday on Raya TV at 4:30 GMT time and 7:30 East Africa time. And on Starr Radio, we will be hosting Miss Henrietta Wamala of Aido USA, and she's the president of UNA. Along with her is Miss Linda Nsababera of Aido Network Business Investment Committee at 6 p.m. East Africa time and 3 p.m. GMT time.
Traffic jams snake for hours up and down this hillside. It means precious aid can't access those in need. You can see the depth of the water. If you have a look in front of us, there are people wading through it. I think experiencing the 2 million person march in Hong Kong, that was a moment.
I don't like the Chinese government. It's cruel.
It was real people power in action.
Police have been firing tear gas and rubber bullets.
See fires all around us here, and just one of them is the size of around 31,000 football pitches. Siobhan Robbins, Sky News, Bangkok.
Welcome back. Now, recent data from Barclays shows that nearly half of all scams that took place from January to March originated on tech platforms. The bank has now partnered with the former London Derry police chief and advisor to the Line of Duty drama series, Tony Callaghan, to discuss how to help consumers protect themselves against fraudsters. Well, Tony joins me now along with the Barclays head of fraud, Jim Winters. Jim, let me start with you. I mean, this is only going to go one way. It's half of fraud at the moment online. That's only going to increase, isn't it?
Well, we have seen increases in recent months, probably encouraged by the pandemic, as many consumers are at home, perhaps cut off their usual support networks without people to check things with if they're suspicious. Bit of a captive audience for those fraudsters, unfortunately.
But yet a lot of your research suggests that people are far more receptive and far more trusting when they're buying on an online platform or via social media. Why is that?
I think their guard is down. I think it was encouraging to see that 2/3 of the people we spoke to are confident they could spot a scam if they're contacted directly on the telephone. But only 1/3 felt comfortable or were aware of the risks when they were scrolling online through their social media platforms. And I think because perhaps you're there to look at social media rather than shopping, your guard is down. And maybe when those offers that perhaps a little bit too good to be true come up, they look a bit more tempting.
Well, Tony, let me bring you in. I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, when you're dealing with someone face to face, you can use a sort of gut feel to know whether someone's a wrong, and you can't necessarily do that on a tech platform, can you?
No, you're absolutely right, Ian. It is more difficult, that socially distanced piece, and difficult to judge whether someone is being truthful or not. And that's the reason why, on the back of Barclays data, that we're suggesting people just take that extra bit of care, particularly on the tech platforms where people seem less aware of the possibility of scams.
So what are your tips for someone when they're looking out for a scammer?
I suppose over 31 years as a cop, I've developed a mindset to be suspicious. And what I would say is people need to question the offer online, whether that's an online transaction or an opportunity that presents itself. Take your time. Don't rush into anything. Use the team around you. In the police, we have a great team around us, and we call for backup frequently. So use the backup you have around you, family, friends, work colleagues, take their advice. And as you say, Ian, trust your gut. If it looks too good to be true, then it probably is.
That's what we always say in financial markets as well, Tony. But I mean, that's slightly easier said than done, isn't it? If you're, say, a sort of teenage girl in your bedroom and someone's targeting you may not necessarily want to go and sort of ask your mum or dad, does this deal look okay? Tony, can you hear me? I think we might have lost you. Jim, let's try you.
That's right. Which is why it's really important that we get this message across to anybody. So if you don't have that support network available, there's two really important things to look out for. One is just be aware of deals that present themselves to you. If you're shopping, generally you're seeking something out. You're going to recognize retailers' sites. If something pops up on social media, you should be aware, because it's possible that they are scams. So that's really important advice for anyone, particularly if it's too good to be true. These unrealistically low prices. We even see a lot of investment fraud start on some online platforms. And of course, those are usually offering unrealistic returns in very short time frames. So the best advice is don't engage directly. Don't ever send any money directly to somebody you've never met before. Try and use recognized online platforms, rather than something that appears in front of you when you're scrolling through social media.
And is the nature of scams changing, particularly, Jim, apart from the fact that more of them are online? What's the origin of them? Are these more domestically origin, or are they from outside the UK?
It's a mixture of both. So it's a very good point. A lot of these are generated from outside of the UK, because in an online environment, borders don't matter. But we see changes in trends in scams. One that I would really like to touch on, which is enabled through technology, but not necessarily online platforms, fraudulent text messages, which we're seeing a huge increase in the beginning of this year, whereby you'll receive a text message purporting to be from a delivery company, for example. Those are very common at the moment, with a link in that text message asking you to click on that link to make a payment with your debit or credit card and provide lots of personal information. Now, of course, when you click on that link, they continue to make some fraudulent purchases using your card details. And more often than not, you get a phone call a couple of days later from a fraudster impersonating your bank or perhaps HMRC, using that personal information you've shared with them to gain your trust. And then they'll spin a story about perhaps your bank account being under attack or owing some money to HMRC to cause that panic. Which enables it, which creates that vulnerability in the moment and makes you far more susceptible to the fraudster. So do look out for people putting you under pressure. No genuine company would ever rush you or panic you. They'll never mind if you put the phone down and perhaps look at the official number for that company from their website, or if it's a bank, on the back of your debit or credit card, and contacting them directly. Also, please, 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 if you receive a text message, don't reply to that text message. And don't click on any links in that text message.
Absolutely, some good advice there. Thank you, Tony. I think we lost you for a moment there, but I'm glad to say you're back with me now. I'll get lynched by everyone if I don't ask you. Is there going to be another series of Line of Duty?
Ian, I couldn't possibly comment.
Very much in keeping with the programme. Jim, Tony, good to talk to you both. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, equity markets in the Asia-Pacific region saw mixed trading overnight, despite Wall Street breaking its recent losing streak last night. There were gains in Tokyo, Mumbai and in Sydney, but declines in Hong Kong. Well, Hong Kong showing us unchanged there, and Shanghai. Well, markets in Europe opened largely to the upside a couple of hours ago or so. Here's the current picture, all of them in positive territory going into the weekend. One of the main talking points today, Lufthansa. Its shares are currently off by nearly 6% in Frankfurt, and that's after its second largest shareholder sold down its stake. Well, here in London, the FTSE 100 was in negative territory as I was waddling into the studio, and it's still off 0.25%, as you can see there, just below 7,000. It looks as though the retail sales numbers might have reignited a few concerns about a rise in inflation and therefore possibly an early interest rate rise from the Bank of England. The biggest faller in percentage terms right now is Kingfisher. That looks like a bit of profit taking after yesterday's strong results from the B&Q owner, while on the upside, BT Group continues to find support following its results this time last week. Among the mid-caps, you can see the FTSE 250 is slightly lower there. Well, Biffa, their shares are up some 5% on the deal that I was talking about earlier, while Trainline remains friendless. It fell by 23% yesterday, and it's currently off another 1.5%. On foreign exchange markets, pretty quiet morning, to be honest, going into those PMI numbers, but as you can see, the pound has perked up against both the euro and the US dollar since those numbers dropped about 20 minutes ago or so, currently ahead by just under 1% against the pair of them. As for the oil price, well, that was slightly lower this morning with the Iran nuclear talks still overhanging the market, but as you can see, it's perked up as well in the last hour or so, Currently, a barrel of Brent crude, $65.43 a barrel. That is up a little under 0.5%. Well, joining me now is Esty Dweck. She's the Chief Market Strategist at Natixis Investment Managers. Esty, good to see you again. We had this very successful IPO on NASDAQ yesterday of Oatly. Bit of a spur this for the IPO market because we had a lot of IPOs pulled over the last few sessions.
Absolutely. We've seen over the last couple of months a little bit of a deflating across a number of sectors where we'd seen a lot of enthusiasms, and IPOs was one of them. We're also seeing that the NASDAQ in general suffered a bit in the last few weeks from the higher rates and inflation fears. And now that we're seeing actually a stabilization in yields and not as much movement as you would have expected given the inflation numbers that came out last week, that's bringing another boost to the NASDAQ. And again, as we've said in the past, from a medium long-term perspective, we still think there's plenty of opportunities across that sector, even if it can underperform a little bit in the short term.
Yes, I mean, the NASDAQ prior to this week had fallen for the last 4 consecutive weeks, all of it largely driven by concerns over a pickup in US inflation.
Absolutely. It's really a link now, I think, for investors that growth stocks and technology stocks in particular are almost like long duration bonds. It's a little bit of a stretch when you think at some of the companies in that sector that have such strong growth and earnings growth. And if the discount rate moves up a little bit, that isn't going to change the growth picture for these companies. But there is a little bit of an amalgamation happening for markets over the last few weeks. And I think it was encouraging to see that yields didn't move so much on the latest inflation numbers. We kind of are at a point where everyone knows inflation is going to be higher for the next few months. The question is what happens 6-12 months from now. I'm in the camp with the Fed that this is going to be transitory, and that should be again positive for tech and growth stocks later in the year. But the fact that yields didn't move so much in the short term also suggests that they're pricing in a lot of this inflation picture as well, and maybe the upside isn't as high
Automotive
as
provides
some might have
affordable,
expected a few
high-quality
weeks ago.
service and repairs for all makes of cars, charging from 50% of London main dealer labour rates. At the Prasad's Automotive, they have the knowledge, experience and facilities that equip them to deliver excellence and quality to their clients at a personal level. They offer servicing and repairs for all makes of cars. Special 10% labour discount and free valet for all NHS and key workers with every service and repair.
Culture. Well, I'm sure you're wondering why I'm dressed in a gourmet while I'm supposed to be showcasing Mijikenda culture. Well, you'll soon find out why. Wow! Stay tuned for Mijikenda culture this Friday on Raya TV at 4:30 GMT time and 7:30 East Africa time, only on Raya TV. And on Starr Radio UK, we will be hosting
Chief Emonsor of Ikoba clan, Ahmed Senda.
Are you ready for another exciting episode of King Bungane III of Embo Kingdom?
Why God chose us to be placed in this continent that is so rich with minerals, so rich with everything.
Well, join us this Friday on Raya TV at 4:30 GMT time and 7:30 East Africa time. And on Starr Radio, we will be hosting Miss Henrietta Wamala of Aido USA, and she's the president of UNA. Along with her is Miss Linda Nsababera of Aido Network Business Investment Committee at 6 p.m. East Africa time and 3 p.m. GMT time.
Hello, lovely listeners. Tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Starr Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you're listening to Starr Radio UK.
once again, I'll give thanks and praise to the Almighty God who has given me the opportunity to be alive and be here to be able to share the day with you. And let me say, as I normally do, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Those of you on other planets as well, we salute you all and we welcome you to the Friday edition of the morning show. Of course, as we say,
the coolest way to start your weekend.
But that's my normal salutation. Let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Those of you on other planets as well, we salute you and we welcome you. But a special morning goes to my colleagues, Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi, Koiki, and Mr. Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services, our money man. That is the team for this morning. So from now till 1 o'clock, oh, brace it, brace up, find yourself a comfortable place to sit or stand, get yourself a cold or hot drink, whichever is appropriate, and let's get on with it. But let me say a special good morning to Bolaji Salami. Yes, wherever you are, Bolaji, say you're watching us live from Lagos, Ododuwa Nation. Good morning to all the Ododuwa citizens there as well. But to all our wonderful listeners in Nigeria, on the African continent, I salute you. And let me once again say good morning to our listeners in the USA. Come for the heavy. I hope you are feeling much better. Abio say good morning. Mr. John Buama, good morning to you all. Mr. Davidson, salute, sir. Here in the UK, Felix all the way in Aberdeen, good morning to you. Captain Felix Secher as well, salute you. Reverend Michael Esiama, good morning. More grace to your elbow. And let me say a special good morning also to Mr. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin. And Mr. Malik Dramani Mahama, good morning. Dr. Martin, Mr. David Kluche. Hey, David, hope you are doing very well in the family. Long time no hear, no see. Hope you are doing good. We hope to catch up pretty soon. Special good morning also goes to my brother Kwame. Chale Kwame, tete. One HFU. Chale link up, yeah? Okay. To our listeners in Europe, in Asia, down and under, we salute you all and we welcome you to the Friday edition of the morning show, which happens to be
the coolest way to start your weekend.
Okay, so if it's your first time of listening to us, this is how the program goes on Fridays. We're going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast is going to follow suit, and the travel updates there as well. And then we'll go on from there, having a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. But starting from home here in the UK, we'll go on, and then at 11 o'clock, we'll bring you updates from Nigeria. That is if Nepa never happens to us, to Mr. Olayomi Koiki down there. He's having a problem with connectivity and power, but hopefully keeping fingers and everything crossed, we should have him on board as well. But then after that, we'll be looking at some of the other stories making the rounds across the globe, having a detailed look at them. At 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions wherever you are. But as some are doing, you can post your comments on our Facebook page wherever you are. Before then, or you can text or WhatsApp us, and I promise you, we're gonna read it. At 12:30 exactly, we'll have our money man, Mr. Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services, joining us. That's a program that you listen to, and of course, you get something in your pocket. Not literally putting money in your pocket, but if you adhere to the rule, the advice that he's putting across, I bet you by the end of the day, you see you got some money in your pocket. That's what I mean. Okie dokie do. So that's how the program is going to go for you today. Stay tuned. 1 o'clock exactly, the curtains are brought down. Now hey, it's going to happen once again. The roots of Africa this afternoon. I'll be telling you more on that front. Starr Radio UK, the morning show. Of course, I am Archie. Welcome to the show. vibe. It says Boshe or Ayeyi medley, whichever it is. I hope you are enjoying it. Those of you who want to put on your dancing shoes and be doing some dance. I remember back in the day in Ghana, there was one of those brothers when we go to church and then we'll do the praise and then he would want to dance. And when he dances offbeat. But you know, so the person is dancing to the glory of God. The moment he goes crazy there dancing, I say, hey, bro, Charlie, take it easy, man. Wherever you are, Starr Radio UK. We bring you the best in everything. Music, name it. Yes. So enjoy it. Dance whatever you want to dance. Give thanks and praise to the Almighty God. But share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Starr Radio UK. Now when it comes to the quote for the day, it says what? Parents can only give you good advice and put children on the right path. But the final forming of a person's character lies in their own hands. Then I said the other time I'm going to find that song, maybe a cover version of it. Every generation blames the one before. Your parents brought you on earth. Maybe they did their best. They did their best. I mean, I can't discount the fact that some parents are not good parents. But majority of the time, you have the parents bending backwards to make sure that the little that they have, they fend for their children to go on. But you cannot just go on continuously blaming them. Oh, you see, the school that I went, were they in the classroom with you when you were giving the assignment? Were they supposed to do your assignment for you? You come home, your advice, you don't take it. Is it their fault? Or you thought that maybe they need to have reprimanded you, whip you? Well, you whip you to go and report to social services. Well, but whatever it is, they've done their best. Whether they did it right or wrong, you are old now, of age now, you can do something about your life. So stop blaming others. Get on with it. All right, I'm being tough a bit. Don't you worry at all. It's going to be a nice day. What about that? Starr Radio UK. I'm going to bring you the weather forecast and then we'll move on to the travel updates as well. But stay tuned, don't you go away. 10:46 the time. Starr Radio UK, the station. Now when it comes to the weather front, this afternoon will remain cloudy for many with continuing outbreaks of rain moving in from the west. Winds will be strong and gusty. That has been overnight. And this evening we'll see blustery showers or spells of rain at times. The rain should taper into a few showers overnight as clear breaks develop. The winds will gradually ease as the night draws on. But when it comes to the temperature is going to be 14 degrees. The lowest is going to be 10 degrees. 10 degrees. Pollen level is going to be low. UV level is going to be low. Pollution is going to be low as well. Sunset 2054. Sunrise for tomorrow morning 0501 hours. Okay, when it comes to the weather for the weekend, Saturday is going to be mostly cloudy to start, but sunny spells should develop as the day draws on. A chance of a few scattered showers drifting in throughout the days is also expected. A gentle breeze. But when it comes to Sunday, yes. It'll be cloudy and some rain will develop from the west during the day. Winds will also increase. So that's the gist of how the weather is going to be for you over the weekend. It is Starr Radio UK. Today, the 21st day of May, the year 2021. Time now 10:47. We'll take a commercial break. We come back and I'll bring you the travel update. Stay tuned and don't you go away. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check it out. Keep your eyes on the road. Little bit of children never told. Keep your eyes on the road. Check it out. This is Ghana, my people. Big shout out to all the people in Africa.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Well, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'll be on the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes to where every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:48. How is your travel this morning? Share with us. Okay, so on the London underground, we've got some issues there, a few of them. Second line has got severe delays due to an earlier faulty train at Stepney Green. And on the district line as well, minor delays back into Upminster due to an earlier faulty train at Stepney Green. Now, when it comes to Hammersmith and City lines, I think the Stepney Green issue is affecting that one as well. Severe delays due to an earlier faulty train at Stepney Green. That aside, Waterloo and City line have got planned closures and the others good service. Now, moving on to the London Overground. Now, changes to Stratford to Richmond services from Monday the 17th to Friday 18th of June. Check before you leave there. And still on the London Overground, minor delays between Euston and Watford Junction due to an earlier customer incident at Wilson Junction. But keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'll be on the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes to where every weekday from 10:40. Check it out. On the river bars this morning, RB4, RB5, and Woolly Cherry are all suspended. That aside, RB1, RB2, RB6 Thames River services. Good service. Let's see how the National Rail is up to over the weekend. Well, Cross Country have got special service, East Midland Railway special service, Great Western Railway special service, Island Line special service, London North Eastern Railway, minor delays, ScotRail, minor delays, South Western Railway, severe delays, Transport for Wales, severe delays. A lot there, but check before you leave so you don't miss your appointment or anything of the sort. Starr Radio UK. Now the final segment of the travel update brings us to the major roads in London. A12 has got closures, A4 closures, Central London Red Roads closures, and South Circular A205 closures there as well. And as I say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you. Enjoy your comments for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Are you ready for another exciting episode of King Bongane III of Embo Kingdom?
Why God chose us to be placed in this continent that is so rich with minerals, so rich with everything.
Well, join us this Friday on Raya TV at 4:30 GMT time and 7:30 East Africa time. And on Star Radio, we will be hosting Miss Henrietta Wamala of Aido USA, and she's the president of UNA. Along with her is Miss Linda Nsababera of Aido Network Business Investment Committee at 6 p.m. East Africa time and 3 p.m. GMT time.
Welcome back to the program, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing in that time now to 6 minutes to the top of the hour. And you know the drill. We're going to go global trotting. I'll be joined by Mr. Frank Davies during the course of the program. So just stay tuned. Don't you go away, but continue to share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones. Okay. So what's up, world? I wouldn't say what's up, Ghana. What's up, England? No. What's up, world? Cutting across to every part of the world as well. Yes. Some stories making the rounds across the globe is what I'm going to be bringing your way now. So stay tuned. Don't you go away. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. BBC's deceit to Diana damaged my parents, William says. The prince speaks of indescribable sadness caused by his mother's interview with Martin Bashir. Well, there have been lots of reactions on that one. The prince said Diana was failed not just by Martin Bashir but also by leaders at BBC. And then we have Prince Harry say heavy drinking marks pain of mom's death. Now, Prince Harry also says he was willing to turn to drugs to cope with grief and hard panic attacks. Now, if you say that, well, what is he talking about? Man up. Well, somebody will tell you that you've not been in his shoes. If you've been in his shoes and walked for a mile in his shoes, then you will know that. But we'll be bringing you more on that front as well. It is Star Radio UK from the UK front. Now, moving on to other parts of the world. Now, Israel and Hamas claim victory after truce. A ceasefire began overnight after 11 days of violence between Israel and Hamas, the West, since 2014. And the truce bring to an end 11 days of fighting in which more than 250 people were killed. Thousands skipped schools from Australia climate strikes. Now, thousands of students attended rallies across the country to demand more action on climate change. To what end? I ask that question all the time. Well, interestingly, those who advocate mostly for this climate change and nature, they like lots of pets, you know. I have said that Frank will come and say that, well, there are some of them we can't do anything about. They said dogs pollute. They pollute a lot now. So what about that? Well, we're coming to all those stories. Now, Biden signs law to tackle anti-Asian hate crimes. Now, President Biden signs a bipartisan law to stop the hatred and the bias against Asian Americans. Now, driver lip speeding train's cockpit for a loo break. Oops. The Japanese man may be punished for leaving the controls in the hands of an untrained conductor. Well, he was desperate, wasn't he? Could he have done something like, you know, the racing drivers, they have all these pipes and stuff like that. Maybe get some connection from down there, and then he can be able to just continue. So when he gets to destination, do whatever. But when nature calls, what do you do? Well, it is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In India, a former editor has been cleared of raping a colleague. We were talking about all these things yesterday, but we will bring you more on that front. Dozens of big cats seized from Tiger King couple. Officials seized 68 tigers, lions, hybrids, and a jaguar citing violation of animal welfare laws. Now, people who keep all these animals as pets in their house, in their homes, what do you think should be done to them? Well, maybe if you want to go and live in some cuckoo land and then you'll be doing that, fine. But if you live in town, I mean, one of them escapes. Can you just imagine the mayhem that goes on there? Well, Trump slams for Republican rebels in Capitol riot vote. Now, 35 Republicans sided with Democrats to back an inquiry into the invasion of the Congress. Yesterday, we did talk about that, but Trump is now slamming them as well. We'll find out what he said about them. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The Syrian refugees no longer welcome in Denmark. Denmark is criticized for becoming the first European country to revoke residence status for 200 people. Well, we'll bring you more on that front. And 2 killed in a collapse collapse at West Bank Synagogue. That's some of the stories making the rounds in the Middle East. And then when it comes to Asia, COVID increases China influence in India's backyard. As India struggles to deal with the virus, China steps in to help its neighbors like Sri Lanka. So what is India going to do? We'll bring you more on that front. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Moving on to the African continent. Severe COVID patients more likely to die in Africa. Nearly half of critical ill patients in hospital die compared to a global average of 31.5%. I'll bring you more on that front. Fears over silent dictatorship in Chad after the death of President Idris Deby. Chad is riven by conflicting desires for democracy and security. We'll go into details on that. We know that the military junta or the ruling class now have said that they'll be going to the polls in 6 months. Is that what it said? We'll be following that story closely. Rwandan woman admits to recruiting girls for rebels. Angeline Mukandutiye denies reports that underage girls were enlisted for military training. But what was she doing? Was she training people for rebels? Okay. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Spain has intensified deportation of migrants back to Morocco. That's some of the stories making the rounds. The Somali leaders gather for key election talks, and we have Nigeria Boko Haram leader wounded in clashes. That's another story making the rounds. Like I said earlier on, we'll do our best to make sure every information that's coming to is verified before we bring your way. Nigeria's Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau has been seriously wounded after trying to kill himself to avoid capture during clashes with rival Islamic State allied jihadists in the north of the country. Now, 2 intelligence sources said yesterday Shekau's Boko Haram faction and fighters from the Islamic State West Africa province had been battling in northeastern Borno State, where ISWAP militants have become the dominant force in Nigeria's more than decade-long jihadist insurgency. Shekau, who made international headlines when his men kidnapped nearly 300 schoolgirls in Chibok in 2014, has been reported dead several times since Boko Haram first began its insurgency in 2009. After a series of clashes, Shekau and some of his fighters were surrounded on Wednesday by ISWAP jihadists in Boko Haram's Zambiza forest stronghold, where they demanded he surrender. One intelligence source said to avoid capture, Shekau shot himself in the chest and the bullet pierced his shoulder. The source said, adding he was badly injured. Some of his men managed to escape with him to an unknown destination. The source has added Shekau has been declared injured or dead several times before. So as to whether this time round it is the true thing that they are saying or is another ploy just to just take the attention off him is another story that we hope to bring you more on that front. Now moving on to Ghana, my beloved country, and Lieutenant Colonel Frank Ajiman has been sacked from national security. Who is he? I'll be bringing you more on that from Group Indum sued in the U.S. for $63 million in alleged money laundering. Yes, we'll be bringing you more details on that front. What exactly is going on there? It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, still in Ghana, National Security withdraws for 4 officers over Caleb Kuda's assault. Withdraw, okay, interesting. Now, reopen all unresolved murder cases, government to police. Have they got the resources to reopen it or and investigate? Or just one of those lip service that will render? Mahama withdraws interest in Somalia mediation job. NDC rejects EC proposal to close polls at 3 p.m. That's one of the stories that we'll be looking into details at. The National Democratic Congress has rejected the Electoral Commission's proposal to close polls at 3 p.m. in the 2024 general election and other future elections. Addressing a press conference on Thursday, the Director of Elections for the party, Elvis Efriye Ankra, said the move could disenfranchise many people, especially poor farmers in rural areas who may want to go to the farm early morning when polls have not opened and return to vote in the evening. The NDC finds the proposal by Jane Manson-led EC to change the closing time of polls from 5 p.m. to 3 p.m. in 2024 baffling and mind-boggling. Since the 1992 elections, polls have always closed at 5 p.m. Well, what do you think about all of these stories? I'm going to be bringing you more on that front after we return from this musical break. We'll be having Mr. Frank Davis on board as well, and we'll be looking at all the stories making the rounds. Don't you go away. Well, Perez Music says that rock of ages. Maybe you need that rock. It will help you a great deal. Good morning.
Matessa, Opera Hache, Ekeka Chuchuta, Ulopana Kuopele Hache, Chimbolo, Opera Hache, Pomoni Okesha, Opera Hache, Wople Matessa, Opera Hache, Kaja Chuchu, Ulopana Kuopele Hache.
Worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home. This is
On your
Starr Radio
J'imagine faire par la voyage si jolie. She won't be jolie. You should take care and jump down for her. You are the Lord strong and mighty. So you are worthy to be praised.
your smartphone. Welcome.
Another exciting episode of King Bungane III of Embo Kingdom.
Why God chose us to be placed in this continent that is so rich with minerals, so rich with everything.
Well, join us this Friday on Raya TV at 4:30 GMT time and 7:30 East Africa time. And on Starr Radio, we will be hosting Miss Henrietta Wamala of Aido USA, and she's the president of UNA. Along with her is Miss Linda Nsababera of Aido Network Business Investment Committee at 6 p.m. East Africa time and 3 p.m. GMT time.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 11 minutes past 11. It is a Friday edition of the morning show. With me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davids, and let's cross over to him for his greetings. Frank, good morning.
Archie, good morning, and good morning to our listeners, our viewers, as usual. A special one to Akusia, Jasmine, Grace, Ifia, who also be coming our way. And if you're backing, and special one to Simone as well. Simone, I hope you're doing very, very well this morning.
Yes, our ladies, and to all the Sandras,
the Sandras,
the men who have metamorphosed to Sandras.
Did I send me a video yesterday?
Which one?
I saw.
Untumi
has got a challenger, you know, so we've got a man.
Yeah,
so all the men that we got. We say good morning to you. Hey, Mr. Is it Bwedi? That's
Nana Bwedi.
No, our friend used to be in Tonting Heath area. Forgotten his. You know, he gave out the report the day the tram
derailed.
Is
it?
Yeah, you forgot. Our own friend, he's not going to forgive you if you
break your back.
That is it.
Nana Bwedi. Yes, it's Nana
Bwedi. Break your back. Long time. I hope you're doing very, very well. And David Nkegbe, I hope you're doing very, very well. But
yes.
The name is Bwedi, yeah?
Yes, Bwedi. Bwedi, so you were getting it right.
Yeah, I was getting it right.
Well, how are you?
I'm doing well, actually. I'm doing very well.
Oh, yeah. Great. Yes. First of all, let's come to the story that's made the most rounds last night till this morning, pertaining to this Bashir's interview with Diana, which I mean the sons. I'm not going to say the children. The sons have not come out to say that. Look, that was what led to the untimely death of their mom, and the reaction and its impact on them. We are in a month where we are looking at celebrating mental health. So you look at all that. Now, how do you see the whole story and everything that's going on?
It's better late than never. And I'm also happy that the police have gotten involved.
Okay.
Where they want to look at the issue about how the
Martin Marshall,
that
Marshall,
criminality could have been involved over there. And I do agree that this is a crime, because actually, if I use a fraudulent document to open a bank account, I use a fraudulent document to have access to something, and I use a fraudulent document to basically acquire immigration status and other things, it will be deemed criminal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it will be deemed as using deceitful means to basically achieve or do things that profit or will enhance my what do you call it, my own personal goals. Right? That's how it will be looked at. What a guy did, in all intent and purpose, fraudulent, because the bank money statement in my view was fraudulent. He went on to win awards which might have allowed him to actually gain access and increase his career prospect in certain ways of all these years, 25 years. So basically, that act, that criminal and fraudulent act, he did, personally profited from it. And actually, I'm also glad that it's come out, because people will now begin to understand where Harry was coming from. Because this is a guy who at 11 had to march behind
the mom's coffin.
And we know the love between a mom and a son.
Especially the last born.
The last born is so tight. It's so tight. And at that time when that relationship was not as it used to be, they've separated. Harry was closer to the mom than the dad,
and especially William, because he was being groomed to be
that is it.
The next king as well.
So was closer to the mom than the dad. And here is a case. You saw everything that happening, growing out to learn more about it, and then you also marrying. Then this same media coming after you. How you get me? No one. I think people will now begin to understand some of the comments he's made, and some of the statements that he issued, especially when he got to a point where he felt that, look, my security, my family's security is being taken away, and it was the absence of security that was withdrawn from Diana that contributed to his her death. Here's a case. My Meghan is also going to suffer the same, just because. How you get me? All that would have compounded in how he saw life, how he want to protect the family, and that's why he keep on saying he will do everything to protect his family, because he thinks they didn't do enough to protect his mom. I believe now people, and even the dad and the brother. Yesterday I listened to the dad live, and I do believe that deeper reflections, you will now begin to understand where the brother comes from. I get, and Harry didn't hold back again yesterday. He also went about. These are the same people, feeling let down by the royal family that he told, look, this has killed my mom. And you people knew about it. What else? You didn't protect her. Why can't you protect me and my wife as well? And especially my wife, who is vulnerable. I think it's watershed moment, and I do believe that to a large extent it might redefine. I perceive look, there are going to be a lot of things that will happen behind the scene. The relationship between the royal family and the media, I think, is going to be redefined and will be re-looked at going forward, because for now I think William will also fall in line a little bit with the brother. Because he's now seen clearly that this is exactly what was done. This is exactly what was done. And if you look at, there's no way anyone could tell me that yes, people are separated, that the interview that he granted at that time didn't contribute to her death. Because
the paranoia made it said that even the security that was even detailed to her, she didn't trust them. She told them go because she knew that they were trying to face. She was thinking trying to face something too.
She was basically manipulated. Manipulated. People who are supposed to protect you, you don't trust them again. All because someone came to say your husband, the royal family, has actually set up spies on you. and they are paying them this amount of money.
Having evidence of a bank statement.
Even people to confine, if you have to even speak to the Queen at all, when certain things are disturbing you. For instance, Meghan, she told us that, look, she even wrote a letter asking that, look, even if you don't want to protect me and my son, for the sake of Harry, don't withdraw the security from him. That she was pleading on behalf of Harry, but no one listened. No one listened. Probably if this had come earlier, probably they would have acted differently.
Of course,
they would have acted differently. So I think they manipulated her to her death, and I wouldn't be surprised if criminal charges are brought before the Bashar guy and jailed. I mean, for holding him squarely responsible. But the other thing, see, all the media houses in this country, the tabloid and other things, if people are to come clean, how some of these news items are obtained, there will not be media.
You know, I remember back in the day when we were at the Institute of Journalism, when we were being trained, and then when they lecture, they tell us that okay, dog bite dog, no news. Man buy dog, news. Now they tell you that when maybe you go to the military hierarchy and then maybe a situation has happened, maybe there's a war, some people have died, soldiers have died. Now you need to find a way to get them to speak.
That's it.
So some will tell you that with what is happening now, how do you find another way? So you try to, as you say things that are not true, just to get them out of their shells.
Yeah, but I think that is it. But to the point of forging documents, that is serious.
Well, you know that the person has something that they really want to say,
but actually to the point of manipulating line, because what you've done to be able to say that the royal family or someone is actually paying someone is lie. It's a complete lie. It's a complete lie. And looking at the relationship that existed by then, what anyone would have wished would have been, okay, how do we steer this boat gradually to, even if it's going to end up in divorce, it end up not too much at acrimony,
amicably.
And no one would tell me that did not influence her relationship with Dodi. Because here's the case, even people who I would run to, don't forget, this was a lady young who was persuaded by the royals to marry. I mean, because she also come from a background.
Aristocrats.
They saw fit for this age 20. Is it 21? When she got married, or 19 or something?
20, I think 21 or 19.
Very young age, and died. I mean, 30 something years. Are you get me? So actually, in my view, I think it's a big lesson for the media houses, and I do think that BBC, especially being funded by the state, will need to do an introspection. But one thing I'm glad about with BBC, which I think all of us has to learn, especially those in the developing countries and third world countries, has to say, is that when crises come this way, you have to be open about it. All the news media, BBC channels, they are talking about it. Can you imagine this happening?
We are not covering it.
In news media, in probably, let's take GBC. Do you think they will make it mention?
No.
Cover it.
No.
They will cover it with the official dog. So that is one thing that I was watching the news. BBC commentators and this thing talking about their own channel as if they are detached from it. For me, it was. I mean, it's something that we all have to learn from.
Now let's come to, because we know that we are still in the month where you are looking at mental health. Now we're looking at grieving. Now Harry is saying that, look, I started. You know, he went a bit rogue. He was drinking and doing that. He said even he got to a point that he wanted to use drugs.
He was using drugs. He used drugs
to go on that path. Now, how have we, established institutions or support network for people who are grieving? Do we have anything of that sort? Do we have some in the church? Do you have some in our localities?
Actually, it's a very, 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 very difficult situation. whether it's your father, your mother, your wife, your partner, whatever it is, it's not easy. 4 days ago, for instance, I had a friend of mine who sent me a message. She was still crying about the dad's death. The dad passed away a few months ago, and she was still feeling the pain, and that it will be then it will hit her. And actually, I still do feel it. Sometimes you wake up, you stand up and say the reality dawns on you, and it takes time to be able to overcome it. If you do not have people around you who could support you, a network that understand, a network that you will be able to cry on, talk to, actually it can lead to mental it can lead to mental health, and can lead to all kind of stuff. Drinking, some people have gone bonkers as a direct result of grieving, and that's why it's good sometimes when people are mourning, allow them to mourn, support them, but let them mourn instead of bottling it up. If you bottle it up, it's a bit of a problem. I recall my dad's one. There was 2-3 days I didn't want to do anything with anyone. I just wanted to be indoor and other things. Know what helps with music, certain type of music help with that. I mean soak my tears through it. It's not easy. As to whether we have institutions that help, I know church, and that is where I look at church as not just go there to pray, go there to church today for me is more of a family where, look, it's not about money, it's not about anything, but you then begin to develop trust and relationship with people that you can share your pain, your grief, your joy with, knowing that what if they are Christians, as they will claim, that they will do things that would not harm you. Are you within that community? If you come to our traditional ways, they also have ways of mourning. That's why all these what they call it, departure rights or widow rights and all those things that they've done, although to some extent some are cruel. I mean, some are cruel. That they need to. I mean, they're looking at it more of pacifying the dead and other things that instead of trying to support, when the system should have been designed to help
support whoever is grieving
to basically usher you out of that deep hole that you find yourself in. We need to do more about it. That's why I keep on saying, for those who have lost loved ones during this pandemic, actually I don't know how many of them survived it, and especially if your family member falls victim or becomes the victim of coronavirus, where burying, sometimes you do not even see them. Someone
stand a distance, and then
someone goes out of daddy is going to hospital, I will not see dad again, and all mom is going to hospital, I will not see mom again. Not even a time to weep. No, you can't see it again. I don't know how they could have handled it. But for social media, where people can talk with their families, I don't know how. I don't know how they could have they could have done it. It's a very terrible thing.
And you know, it comes to a place where we tell people, man up. Or if you cry there a little, it's okay. Actually, but if you know what in someone's shoes,
actually, it's not easy. It's manning up. It's not easy. It's not easy. You know, until you come to a point where, I've come to a point where I've now redefined what life is. After my dad's death, the way I look at life to a large extent has altered drastically. I've come to accept death as an inevitable journey of life. That once you accept your conception, that your sperm won the battle, you have committed and signed an agreement with the spiritual world that you will return one day. So whatever it is, whether you are birth, every day is
working towards.
That is it. That is what I've come to exit. That is what I've come to understand. I've come to accept death in a different way in a different way, different light.
Interesting. Because most of us, I mean, not most of us, we've all got different characteristics.
Yes.
And the way we accept things or behave when issues are raised or things come to us, it's all different. I remember sometime last weekend there was some issue that went on back home, and I was looking at my wife, and I didn't know how to react to her, because I couldn't just imagine what she's going through, and I didn't honestly. So I was just quiet and just watching her.
You can't. I mean, until you are in that shoe, you're not going to. You sympathize. You feel it a bit, but until you are within it, you're not going to. Especially, you see, we are social animals. The relationship between you and I will differ from the relationship between me and Akusua. And the relationship between me and probably Charlotte. Me and Bossman. Okay? Within the same household, the relationship between you and your dad will differ from the relationship between your siblings and your dad. So even within the same household, when death strike or when you are deprived or a loved one is taken away, that relationship, those memories informed and underpins the grieving process. Because, for instance, let me use my dad example, for instance. None of my siblings had the opportunity to bond with my dad the way I did.
You did.
Being the firstborn, it got to a point if they cook and my dad is not there, I'm not eating.
You're waiting for him.
I'm waiting for him. To a point where my dad was transferred from one location to another, I ran away from school because initially my dad wanted me to be with my mom to school. They have to. That was the first time the teacher they went looking for me. They have to come and arrest me and carried me.
The man is gone rogue.
They carried me. I became a rebel. I said I'm not attending school. They carried me as a rebel to the school, whipped me. They followed me. I didn't go to. I said I'm not going. So when it's time for school, I take my uniform somewhere else. I only go to school. They will come looking for me until they sent for my dad to come, because I couldn't imagine the way I was. We walk to school. We walk to school. You walk me to school. We walk back home. Every 7 o'clock we have classes in the house.
No, he's 10 and editing on you. Yet you love that
bond.
That
bond. I just couldn't imagine that I could go through at that age without my dad. So I became a rebel. They quickly had to send my dad for me. So I was the only one who lived with my dad for about 2 years. We will come and go, but that is how close. None of my siblings had that opportunity. Look, when we have to cook fufu, me and I'll be planning the food. My dad will be. Those memories you couldn't. I couldn't have gotten it anyway.
I just empathize with what you are saying, because I've had the same discovery. The way I'm also first born. My dad, once he was a minister of the gospel. So when he's traveling, he will travel with me. Weekends when he has to go to places, he will go with me. When he was traveling West Coast, and he will be traveling with me all the time.
So then what happens is that those experiences informs our individual grieving experience. So when it comes to Harry and William, you realize that when you are birth, dads are close to their firstborns, especially. Dads tend to be close to their firstborn, and therefore between William and Harry, William naturally will bond with the dad more than the mom. Whilst Harry will bond with them, because naturally once Harry comes along, dad automatically is put in a position to take care William while the dad while
the mom takes care of the baby,
and the dad will not have the opportunity to bond closely with Harry than the mom did. So their grieving experience will be informed by the individual relationships they have with the departed, and it translates in all the family. Sometimes, I mean, you see people, oh, this brother doesn't care about our mom. Sometimes you have to understand that experience is influenced, and they don't see things from where you
are seeing
it from.
Well, listeners, interesting. Maybe you've gone through a challenge of that sort, some grieving process. Maybe you can relate to this story that is going on at the moment. We wanted to share your take with us. Let us know, because we are all here learning. Nobody knows it all. Nobody have experienced it all. What I might have seen, you might not have, and what you might have seen, I might not. Well, so it is Starr Radio UK. Continue to share your broadcast, the broadcast with your friends and loved ones, and invite them to like our pages as well. Now, investigation into Yorkshire COVID variant. The COVID variant. Now, yesterday they were talking about the fact that in some areas where they found the Indian variant, it's doubled over a period of 24 or 48 hours. So there's a bit of a panic there. However, some experts are saying that, well, we think that the vaccine is able to combat it, and therefore are urging people to go and take the vaccine. Now, health officials are investigating a new COVID variant which has caused 49 cases of infection, mostly in Yorkshire and Humber region. Now, Public Health England has been monitoring the VUI 21 May 01 variant. That was the May variant since April. The PHE said there was currently no evidence that this variant causes more severe disease or renders the vaccines currently deployed any less effective. The agency said additional testing and tracing was being carried out. The variant is one of a number of based on an unusual mutation profile. PHE said in an online update issued on Thursday. It added PHE is carrying out increased laboratory testing to better understand the impact of mutation on the behavior of the virus. So we know that the testing has to go on, especially with this mutation.
Yeah, it has to, and we should expect more mutations coming in. They will definitely come in. I mean, that's how virus behave. Once they interact with the body, move from one person to another. They are subjected to a lot of things. Your body metabolism or whatever, your body immune system might differ. Whatever you subject the virus to, this is a battle that they are in. I mean, it's just like human beings. We are giving birth to. We come with different color. We come with different behavior. Our fingerprints might be different, and other. So we should expect more of. The mutations that will happen. The good thing is that if the vaccine is able to get to what the DNA, what I would tend, the DNA of the virus, that whichever way you look at it is still able to deal with it in one way or the other, then we are in a clear.
So, well, another story comes from the health front. The health secretary will face questions about compensation for victims of the contaminated blood scandal on Friday. That's this afternoon. Now, Matt Hancock will give evidence at a public inquiry into what's being called the worst NHS treatment disaster. Around 3,000 people died after being given blood products containing HIV and hepatitis C in the 1970s and the 80s. Now, the Department of Health cited number 10 announcement in March that support will be equalized across the UK. Now, ministers announced a public inquiry into the scandal in 2017 after decades of campaigning by victims and their families. Nearly 5,000 people with the blood disorder hemophilia were infected with the potentially fatal viruses after being given a clotting agent called factor 8. Well, so you know, this brings about a bit of apprehension when it comes to people who you say go and take the vaccine and they think so such stories. Such stories. So people don't want to actually go because they're not very sure.
These stories do not help the campaign to get everybody vaccinated because like we said, the unknown are still there, and some people prefer to be on the fence than to jump into the unknown, the sea of the unknown. 2-3 years before it will come out that look, whatever has happened, there could have been, but then who is to compensate you? Where a friend of mine told me something over. He said, could it be a time to wipe up? No, I don't want to go there. That the word order, the button is being reset. The more the vaccine, the more the exterminating are asking, do you have the ability to manage? Do you have the capability to manage? Yeah, but this they shouldn't deter people from going for the vaccine.
Yeah,
for now, we know the vaccine is effective. We know we do not have so much side effects that are being reported, and I think it's a good thing that we all get involved.
Okay, listen to Star Radio UK. 11:38 the time. Star Radio UK, the station, the morning show, the program, the Friday edition, of course. And we are looking at some stories making the rounds. Now going to the international scene to see what is happening there. Mr. Netanyahu has been explaining Israel's goal in launching the operation in Gaza. Last week, he says it was a strike, a severe blow against the terrorist organization and to restore calm. Not everything is known to the public yet, nor to Hamas, but the full range of achievements will be revealed over time, he says. But behind the scenes, we're talking about the fact that Israel went into this, and the actions that they've taken over the 11 days, there is an ulterior motive that the Prime Minister that he had. So that's why they say, no, leave it, and then he thinks, oh, let's go all out, so that people can say that, well, he's giving us, he's assuring us of security.
And that's what has kept him in power for long. I mean, Netanyahu has been that kind of militant, and the Israelis to some extent see him someone
no nonsense,
they are defender. Looking at the situation where politically he's having a problem trying to even form a government. Could this bring along a bit of rally along a bit of support for him to be able to form a government? We're not quite too sure about that, but no one can discount the political game that was also at play during this conflict. And the interestingly about this is that both parties are celebrating their success. It gives an opportunity for them to regroup and to rearm. For those who are manufacturers of the rockets, an opportunity to seek more funding. Then we fired. We have actually exhausted our stock. So project must continue. For Israelis, a lot of arms were used. So again, restocks. For the manufacturers of the raw materials and those things, it's a rainy day for them. Because at the end of the day,
how many did you use?
It's about money. War is money, and that's what they're looking at. It's business, because they need to restock.
Well, people have died, and for
what? I do believe that it's come to a time where a lasting solution could be found for Israel. There's no point talking about peace of the world when this situation, in fact, it is a failure on the global community, because at the end of the day, this is something that has been going on for years. And upon all the consultants, all the UN, all the DCs, there seems to be one crisis that will go resurface. Can we have a lasting solution, a two-state solution once and for all?
Do you think we can come by that?
It's possible, Archie.
Really?
It is possible. If the lobbyist group would, redefine the agenda.
Well, let's see what the lobbyist group do on that front. It is Star Radio UK. 19 minutes to 12 the time. The morning show, the program. With me, Mr. Frank Davis, and I am Archie. Now let's move on to the US. The former US President Donald Trump blasted wayward Republicans after lawmakers made a rare bipartisan push to investigate the Capitol riot. Now, with the support of 35 Republicans, the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives voted 252 against 175 to look into the events of the 6th January. Now, party leaders had urged Republicans to oppose the bill, but Mr. Trump's labeling it as a Democratic trap. The bill appears to lack the Republican support it needs to pass in the Senate. It seeks to create an independent inquiry modeling on the commission that investigated the 9/11, as we said yesterday. But Trump supporters stormed the Congress on the 6th of January. The question here is Trump bashing them. Yesterday we were taking that, well, this 35 Republicans who have joined with the Democrats. What is going to be the action of Trump? What is he going to cause the what do you call them, the supporters when it comes to the midterm election, and who they put the how is it, the action, what the statement that is even made now going to impact those people who have crossed carpet?
Archie, like we said yesterday, it's a battle between the Trumpians and the other group of Republican Party. The Republican Party is now divided. They want to look at, you have to look at the support Trump has, and what is going to happen going forward. This election process, I mean, people who think that they are loyal to Trump, and the other people are not loyal to Trump. They will not be looking at how do we get rid of this people so that we can have a Trump movement. That's basically what you're seeing. But I do not believe it's going to succeed in the long run. I do not believe it's going to succeed in the long run. Prior to the election, we had some Republicans, the former National Security Advisor, and all others going against Trump. Wanting him out. These are Republicans, Colin Powell and others, all going against Trump. These are, I mean, very senior Republicans. I mean, George Bush and all those going against Trump. These are again Mitt Romney and all those things. So they're not just going to sit down for Trump. Yes, he swept himself into power and abused some of the privileges that were given to him. It's a power struggle, and what happened is the beginning of the battle within the Republican Party, and I do believe that at the end the winners will make. But as it is the beginning of the battle that will see Donald Trump, I do not see how he's going to win it. A lot of supporters will actually be rethinking, especially when some of the leaders, those who mobilized the support for Trump, to a point, still convinced people that on the 21st of March, Trump was going to be sworn in, and people, the evangelists, were praying and other things, thinking that some miraculous things was going to happen on the 21st of March 2021 for Trump to be sworn in as a president. Actually, they waited, it never happened. Now mistrust has set in, and I know that is going to start affecting that support base.
And especially some of those pastors who were saying maybe they had visions or they were prophesying that this was going to be, some who have come out to retract and said that they might not have. They were misled. They were misled. They were carried. They said, I mean, there is something that when you study religion or this, and they talk about when you go to an atmosphere where people are doing, so you are affected, your thoughts are affected by that atmosphere, so you are not seeing clearly, but because of what is going on around you, you also think, oh, this is what is going to happen, and then you prophesy that way.
I was speaking to a fool the other time, and around this same issue, and I said to her, look, for me, the issue about, and God has told me specifically this, and God has told me specifically, whenever you say this, I look at it secondly. And she said something that was very interesting. She said, look, God speaks to people. So when you say that God has spoken to you, it is not her place. It is not in her place to question you.
You said God spoke. So
but the consequences of you not hearing by using the name
of God,
misapplying the name of God, all has consequences.
Of course.
And those consequences comes onto you who says he has specifically. Some will say, I clearly heard it.
Yes.
He spoke to me.
Yes.
Unequivocally. The voice was clear. I left for all my time in ministry. I think this was one of the most clearest, and I saw, and I
this man is a prophet too.
But you see, Archie, to us, for those of us who follow politics, and for those of us who are citizens and observe the actions, and even the congregants who will follow some of these men, I've always said that it's about having a personal relationship.
Of course.
That is a priority. I'm not discounting what anybody
sees or does.
But at the end of the day, there must always be a confirmation. If there's no confirmation, you need to go and ask for confirmation yourself.
Yeah.
Are you getting? So, if you look at politics, politics and religion, they've always have intercourse.
Yeah.
Religious leaders have always been used by lobbyists to push political agenda, and you can see it everywhere. It could be the Islam, it could be the Buddhist, it could be the Christian, it could be the traditional, whichever way, where faith is. Why? Because you have control over the masses.
Yeah.
Some masses.
Yeah.
And politics is about numbers. It's about control. It's about influence. And therefore, if a man of God has influence over the thoughts, the doings, the sayings of certain group of people, then it is best I get the man of God on my side, knowing that getting him on my side to speak the language I want to speak to the people, it would have taken me 100 times the effort needed to convince those people. But when he says it, that is a kind of what I call it gospelnius. That's God,
like that
the like of Usu Bempa and others have found them, Paula White and others have found themselves in. And it's up to us not to take everything that they are saying as 100% of what is true. That's the way I look at it.
Well, maybe they thought that maybe that day there will be some angels fighting, and then something would have happened, and
look, science must conform. Faith, you see. Let's begin to look at things this way, and I'm going to appeal to our brothers and Christians. To some extent, we tend to discount science from faith. If you look through the Bible, some of the apostles were physicians.
Look,
scientists. Are you get me?
Yeah.
They all apply science. When we lack understanding, that is where we tend to see science are being too distant away from faith. Because I do, like I said, I do believe for you to create anything on this earth, the power, the knowledge, the experience that was given to you
from above.
It comes from above.
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. It is me to position myself. How did that inspiration came about? It's like this country, science is doing this, and therefore he has nothing to do. No, I don't. The moment you begin to do that, you say them against us, and that is what we've been doing to a large extent, and we've gotten it to a large extent wrong, and we've not taken advantage of the opportunities.
Do we take advantage of them? Well, listen, Starr Radio UK, we've never done.
We haven't.
Jesse P. Howard, wherever you are, good morning to you. I hope you are doing very well. And let us know where you are listening to us from or watching us from. And to the numerous of you who have joined us on the Facebook as well, I salute you all. Continue to share your posts, the posts or your comments with us. Post them on our Facebook page. We'll read them in the next 8 minutes. So I'll be opening the lines for you to add your voice to the discussion if need be. Okay, now moving on to some other stories making the rounds on the Friday edition of the morning show. Yes. Okay, my apologies. We're moving on. Let's get on to Africa. Now, in Madagascar, a drought is eating cactuses. Let me tell you, Madagascar drought. People are eating cactuses to survive. Now, I'm going to tell you more of that cactus, what it means. Now, more than 1 million people in the south of the Indian Ocean island are suffering the worst drought in 40 years. Okay, those are some of the stories making the rounds there. But interestingly, Madagascar, people say, I remember when we were studying geography, one of the things that they taught us that African without Madagascar is like an animal without a tail. So that helps us to remember where Madagascar is when you are drawing it. But droughts seem to be happening somewhere the eastern part of Africa, down there to the northern part of the southern part of Africa. So that enclave. So getting to Madagascar, but we are always say that it's something that we know that happens. I think sometime last year or early part of this year, there were what do you call them? These what is it? Flies? What locusts that were around the eastern part of Uganda, Kenya, and all those places. Yeah. So these are things that happen, call it periodically or yearly. But the question is, what preparation do we put in place so that when those times come, we are able to survive? Because looking at what the story that they are talking about, people are eating carcasses to survive.
Actually, is the issue about planning, the issue about lack of aid, the issue about lack of resources is something that has bedeviled us for years. Someone will say, if you do not have enough, the little that comes, you tend to do hand to mouth. So you do not have the opportunity to be able to plan towards. Look, it's people who have a little bit that they can do, or the disposable income, they tend to have much savings. So if we are not able to feed ourselves today, we have myriad of problems that are confronting us. How do we plan and spend money on other future occurrences? But you look at it more for an insurance. Do I buy an insurance policy today for an unknown eventuality
that might not happen,
or which would mean that probably I eat twice a day
instead of 3 square meals.
Square meals. But what do I do? It's about managing that risk of the future against today, and that is a very, very, very difficult one. I must admit. And I do think that as Africans, we might have to up our game when it comes to that. And that's why some of us were happy when we heard of people establishing funds like sovereign funds, heritage funds, others which are recovery funds, which are actually setting aside a bit of taxpayers' money for a day when disaster strikes. And that is, it's an insurance policy that you might call it in one way or the other, and we will encourage that our leaders make provisions of that. And with this thing, for instance, this low cost issue, for instance, we know it happened. We need a regional consensus, because you're not going to be able to, when they land in Malawi, you're not going to be able to close the border.
To the flies.
No, they're not going to close the border. They are not human beings. So if they fly from Malawi to Tanzania, they will fly freely. From Malawi to probably Uganda, Malawi to Botswana, they're going to fly freely. So we need a regional solution to some of this, and I do believe that some of these regional bodies will not have to look beyond the normal political talks that they go to talk about and look at how do we secure our people, because today it's just like flood. When flood comes, something to sweep, you cannot control it.
Well, we hope that something is done about that. But African leaders, a call for us once again to sit up and plan. Starr Radio UK. Now, as Ghana President withdraws as AU Somalia envoy, former Ghanaian President John Mahama has withdrawn his acceptance as a special African envoy to mediate talks over the political crisis in Somalia. In a statement on Thursday, Mr. Mahama noted a lack of support by the Somalia federal government. He said the proposed assignment required that he enjoy the unallied support and cooperation of all political stakeholders. The AU appointed Mr. Mahama as its special representatives to Somalia on the 7th of May, but the Horn of Africa country questioned his impartiality. I know we talked about this, so I think it's a right call that he has also made on that front. Let's move on straight to one other story from Chad. The African Union has called for a democratic transition in Chad within 18 months following last month's military takeover. The AU said it categorically rejected any extension of transition period. The Chad Military Council has promised to hold elections within 18 months. It is headed by the son of the former president, Idris Deby, who died last month after being injured fighting rebels. There have been regular opposition protests since the military took over, with dozens of activities or activists arrested. We don't think that much is going to come from there. Do you want to comment on that, or we just
actually let's proceed?
Okay. Now moving on to some other story that is making most of the rounds this morning in Nigeria. The Nigerian Army says it is investigating reports that Boko Haram leader Abubakar Shekau had either died or was seriously injured during a clash with a splinter group, the Islamic State in West African province. That's ISWAP. Now, it is not the first time Shekau has been reported killed, but the militant leader resurfaced each time. Now, Army spokesman Brigadier General Mohammed Erima said that the Army was still looking into what may have happened, but will not issue a statement until it gets definite proof. So, now, apart from their fighting, kidnapping and doing stuff, now the groups themselves are fighting each other.
It's controlled territory. It's controlled territory. And again, I don't think even the military should be, yes, it will be a significant. There's about any time a leader dies, they install another one.
So even if it's dead, they can just
the only thing it might help is to really know that if this is an ID that you're looking for within internally, you circulate. If you circulate different face, or you look for who the new leader is. But you see, Archie, this is no joy. It's no joy because it's even a sign of worry to me. If Boko Haram is actually becoming so difficult to contain, and here we are being told that Islamic State is now able to go after Boko Haram, then what is coming is bigger. It is a bigger trouble.
If this new one can capture Boko Haram,
this is a bigger trouble. Look, last week we were told some of the members of one bandits were killed by another group. We don't know if it is this Islamic State that might have. I worry. I serious worry. And what is going to happen again is we're going to see recruitment. Because this one trying to recruit more, this one trying to recruit more. But if even Boko Haram is not able to contain the splinter group IS, then God intervene.
Well, interestingly, still in Nigeria, officials in Nigeria say at least 8 worshippers were killed when their church was set on fire in the northwestern state of Kaduna. They say armed bandits burned down several other buildings near the Assemblies of God Church. Attacks on places of worship are becoming increasingly common in northwestern Nigeria. Now, last month, gunmen attacked another church in Kaduna State, killing one person and abducting several worshippers. An armed group stormed a mosque in Katsina State earlier this month, seizing 45 people who have since been also rescued. So you say that it's not only, they are not only looking at the Christians, but they're looking at, so anything
it's money. They are found it's money. It become a kidnapping has become profitable. It's not a business. And that's why and these are not Boko Haram, are other armed groups who are interested in kidnapping and there's extorting money, ransom. It's business for them.
Well, it is 2 minutes past the top of the hour. We're going to be taking a break. We come back, we'll be opening the lines for you to join us, and we'll be looking at the story. Group Indum sued in the US for $63 million in alleged money laundering. What is going on? We'll bring you more details of that. And then the EC's proposal, the Electoral Commission in Ghana's proposal, that now come 2024 elections, instead of closing at 5 o'clock, this time around going to close at 3 o'clock.
Proposal.
We'll be looking at that. Maybe they think that, well, this time around we can use the sun, daylight to count and do other stuff.
It's a bonkers proposal. Are we in a war zone? Are we in Afghanistan?
This man is very angry. Don't worry. We'll take a break. We'll come back.
It's a plot to be able to close early so that during the night you can steal election and declare the morning. That's what they are doing. You close election at 3 o'clock. By 12 midnight, when people are asleep, you still do all those computation and other things, and by morning you declare the stolen verdict. It's a criminal motive.
But there's only one group of people who will be there.
I mean,
a mixture of people going to be there. Okay, don't you worry. We'll come back to it. We'll have a detailed look at that story. It is Starr Radio UK. But like I announced earlier on, this afternoon, exactly at 3 o'clock, it will be happening in live again on Starr Radio UK, the Roots of Africa Idol Network presentation. We'll be hosting Miss Henrietta Wamala, Idol USA and President UNAA, and Linda Nasabarera, Idol Investment and Business Committee member there, or maybe head there as well. They will be joining my colleague Mr. Frank Davis exactly at 3 p.m. That is UK time, and 4:30 p.m. in Uganda and Nairobi. It will be 7:30 p.m. Eastern time there as well. So make sure you listen to that program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Are you ready for another exciting episode of King Bungane III of Embu Kingdom?
Why God chose us to place in this continent that is so rich with minerals, so rich with everything.
Well, join us this Friday on Raya TV at 4:30 GMT time and 7:30 East Africa time. And on Starr Radio, we will be hosting Miss Henrietta Wamala of Aido USA, and she's the president of UNA. Along with her is Miss Linda Nsababera of Aido Network Business Investment Committee at 6 p.m. East Africa time and 3 p.m. GMT time.
I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hello, lovely listeners. Tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Star Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Are you ready for another exciting episode of King Bungane III of Embo Kingdom?
Why God chose us to be placed in this continent that is so rich with minerals, so rich with everything.
Well, join us this Friday on Raya TV at 4:30 GMT time and 7:30 East Africa time. And on Star Radio, we will be hosting Miss Henrietta Wamala of Aido USA, and she's the president of UNA. Along with her is Miss Linda Nsababera of Aido Network Business Investment Committee at 6 p.m. East Africa time and 3 p.m. GMT time.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 10 minutes past the top of the hour. Now, if you want to join us, feel free to do so. Call us on 0208-133-2257 or 58-0208-133-2257 or 58. If you're in US or Canada, it is 001-718-303-2737. 001-718-303-2737. You can text or WhatsApp us as well. It is 0753-966-1744, 0753-966-1744. Twitter handle is Star Radio UK and email address is info@starradiouk.com, info@starradiouk.com. You can also Skype at us and we will make sure we allow you to talk, and our Skype ID is Star Radio UK 1. Star Radio UK 1. With me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davis, I'm Archie, and we continue with the latter part of this program. Exactly at 12:30, we'll be having our money man, Mr. Tabiri, who will be joining us on Career 1. Oh, my apologies. You hear what I said? On the money hour, not Career 101. Career 101 will be coming your way on Monday. And let me take the opportunity to say good afternoon to HRH Linda Palian all the way in Cyprus, and to Mr. Palian as well. Okay, so move in on to the other stories. Now, first of all, let's touch on these alleged money laundering case against Group Indom. Now, Papa Kwesi Indom's Group Indom has been cited in a lawsuit by a US-based company for alleged involvement in money laundering and wire fraud. The plaintiff, Birim Group LLC, accused Mr. Indom and his family of executing some of the alleged criminal activities through his established companies. They also mentioned some activities by Group Indom which led to its reclassification from a commercial bank to a savings and loans company. Now, Ghanaian businessman and politician Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom and 18 others have been sued by a US-based company for $63 million in alleged money laundering, wire fraud. An equity fund and securities investment company based in the United States, that's Birim Group LLC, sued them. Now, it goes on further to say the Indom family defendants by and through their ownership, control and use of defendants, GN Bank, Gold Coast Fund Management, and over 60 and undercapitalized interrelated companies collected several millions of dollars of depositors' savings, investment contribution, and insurance premiums, and in violation of U.S. and Ghana laws, illegally laundered approximately $63 million of depositors' funds through its Virginia-based sham procurement and consulting service company, International Business Solution. It stated it's quite a heavy blow from that.
Yeah, actually, I'm not going to go deep into this issue because we don't know. This issue is still pending court, and we do not know the full set of facts regarding these issues. What we do know is that somewhere 3 or 4 years ago, Group Indum ventured into the US, acquired a bank, a saving and loans, a bank, so to say, was celebrated as one of the fully black-owned businesses. The environment they were in and their customer base was mainly the African community, and also started promoting investment products back home in Ghana, where people who were interested in investing in assets, equities in the back home in Ghana could actually do so by dealing with their associates in the US. I wouldn't be surprised if companies were affected because a lot of funds would have moved from some banks into this.
This new
was seen as what they call a local bank. I think we'll leave it to courts to decide as to whether they breached certain laws. I don't know the law how. If, for instance, I'm a consulting firm and I receive money from individuals who are interested in buying a product, and we are brokerage for that product in Ghana, and probably totally with whatever we've transferred has accumulated to days, we violated the law by sending the money in piecemeal instead of sending in the bulk, where would have been obliged to disclose
and then maybe pay some taxes or something.
I mean, I think if you go the way to look at it deeply, but it's not a good reading. It's not good reading. It's not good to read, but I wouldn't jump into any conclusion at this stage. What we do know, Indum, of all his faults and other things, I celebrated him as a businessman who saw opportunities, though unethical some of the things that he did when he was the chairman of the diversity implementation days and during Jerry's time, but illegitimately and legitimately acquiring some of those which actually set him on a path for greater heights. The most important thing is that he's gone on to do a lot of good, employing a lot until his banks and this and were collapsed and other things. As to I wouldn't rule anything out. Political arm twisting and other thing is too early. That will be. I'll be very, very careful in actually trying to get involved. Without a set of facts fully before us.
I think I agree with you there. I mean, we leave it. I mean, because I was asking myself, what more can this man suffer? Because with his banks being,
basically, he was collapsed. That's what you can talk of it. He was collapsed. He suffered ill health as a result of that. It's a shame. It's a shame. And let's see how this goes. And one would have thought that when it comes to money laundering, it has to be the state that.
So how come that
the state that goes to investigate and this and a company might have been reported to the state for them to investigate instead of a private equity firm going to sue them another company for money laundering.
If I London it, how did it affect you
It's a bit
as a private entity?
That is why I would look at the issue of competition, issue of client-based business, the struggle for business. I will leave it like that, and yeah.
Okay, listen, as we promised, I'll be following that story closely. As and when we have any more details of it, we will let you know. But at the moment, well, the case is said to be in court. All right. Okay, one story before we come to the electoral commissions. I know Frank wants to say a lot on it. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Frank, your brother, Ajima, has been sacked by the National Security Minister. This follows an alleged assault on journalist Caleb Koda. Colonel Ajima is to report to the Chief of Defense Staff for further investigation and appropriate action. The National Security Minister has dismissed Lieutenant Colonel Frank Ajima, the Director of Operations at the National Security, following an assault on journalist Caleb Koda on May 11, 2021. 3 other police officers involved have been withdrawn from the National Security Secretariat. Nice story there. Now we saw the National Security boss praising the actions of Delta Force yesterday. Now, is it a knee-jerk reaction?
Not necessarily. What you say? There's a National Security Minister who is Kendapa, and there's a National Security, the head of National Security.
Yeah.
Now, this investigation, for those who do not know, came about when last 2 weeks, a journalist of the City FM was actually assaulted, arrested and assaulted for what they claim is an illegal breach of entry, that he entered and filmed what was unauthorized. Basically what he was filming is the number of cars that were procured during Muhammad's era to be distributed to a lot of you for work and pay. Most of those cars have been left to rot under the mercy of the weather. They are parked. You can see bushes in between the cars, huge cars, a number of cars. Those cars, taxpayers' money, loans were taken to acquire those cars in the name of under the umbrella of the state, to be distributed to people to work, pay this Uber and other things. And he sneaked in to actually record, not the Blue Gate, they had a different yard, that he actually basically recorded, and they said it's a breach of this thing. So it tells you that even the state are actually trying to cover up their wrong, and it's not a journalist going to uncover that. To them would have brought a different image to what they want, the pageantry kind of lifestyle or operations that they want us to know. That is the beginning of the case, and Kendapa, who is the National Security Minister, actually instituted an investigation into it, and that has resulted in this. We are told that this was the man directly involved in actually ordering his arrest, torturing, and whatever happened to him as well. But the most important thing is that, are we seeing a new national security, or is just to please a bit of heads, or is just to change the dialogue or fix the nation that we are going? Because we know the national security that we know, I mean, this will be one out of the blue of I mean,
one out of a million.
what we've seen. Is it to change the dialogue, the conversation, the trending issue about fix the country and other things? But look, nevertheless, it's still a good sign from the minister that people will have to take full responsibility for their actions. And in my view, I think the right thing has been done to let him go. Bad elements like that are not But the question again you ask is, you know, City FM is MPP member owned.
Oh, yeah.
Is it because dog has bite dog? Is that why the dog owner is now saying you go to a different house, giving you out for adoption? Is that what it is? So basically, a dog has bite another dog, and now the other dog is now being taken. Look, your dog has bite, now go to Battersea.
Yes. Home. Yeah, go and be there.
Go and be there.
They're not taking you to that battle, so that's okay.
Is that what we are seeing? Would it have happened if, for instance, the attack
Radio Gold.
The attack has happened on probably Windsor TV? It has happened to a journalist probably based in what do you call it? Kukrantumi TV, Felix TV, Felix this thing. I mean, we would like to see more of that for us to prove to us that look, these are genuine things, not because you are dealing with a big boy that the owner of City FM is close to a very close associate of the president and a very good friend of Gabi Otredako, that you've ended up touching the powers that be that you should not touch, and therefore power is being shown that although U.S. national security, there are certain areas that you do not go to. It's a warning to all of you, the national security. You do not cross.
Don't touch this.
Don't touch this. These are kind of sacred
protected species.
Protected species that should not be touched. Is that what it is? Is it? They have to go beyond this for us to know that, because this is not the first time a journalist has been assaulted. This is not the first time a journalist has been. Look at what is still happening to Manasseh. Okay, we have been told, for instance, the PRO of GPRTU he's been threatened. He's been threatened. People went to his house, according to him, pulling a gun, telling him that if he doesn't shut up, going to radio station to plead the cause of his the group members for increment in prices, first, I mean, he will be killed. Yes, I mean, it's on news. Are you getting me? And these are members of national security, call them, the national security. It's not even difficult to differentiate between who is a national security, who is a national disaster security,
who is a regular army personnel.
The next time you see me, I also tell you I'm a national security, because probably I have Gabi's number that I can call. Gabi, Charlie,
I'm in the midst of it. Do something.
What I've won. But I mean, if it's a genuine investigation that was done and a genuine action is being taken, then we commend them. But for where I sit, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced because the mixture of a lot of things that is taking place too toxic. To be able to separate one from the other, and therefore they should go beyond that. That if a Fiapoku is being attacked, if what they call Samuel Hunto is being threatened, if Kofi Ali is being harassed, if Malik is, and these are media, anyone who might have used the power of the state, try to basically, break the wings of the free press, so to say, media unlawfully, without saying that, the media should have a free hand to do what is unethical. Are you get me? We want to see them bring rain in. Are you get? If that can be done, then yes, we are on a course. But commendation to Kendapa for what is done. Let's see it replicate. Let's see
across board, not just
not to place your big boys.
Well, listeners, we got about another 4 minutes to finish the first part of the program, but let's jump straight to this story. Now, NDC has rejected the EC's proposal to close the polls at 3 p.m. I talked about that at length before we went on the break. Now, first of all, now when we go for elections on the election day, we finish at 5 o'clock. Now, darkness starts falling, and therefore the counting. At times they have to bring this Bobo the Alonso light, and then they'll be doing the counting. So maybe this time around we finish at 3 o'clock. We finish at 3 o'clock, everybody in the daylight, you can see feeling Gadochi, and then the counting goes on. So I know that you got 1, this one got 2. There's no or any listen, and then as we know, the results are transmitted to maybe the headquarters. What is wrong with that?
Actually, everything is wrong with that. Now, if you look at the elections that have taken place over the last 20 years, the problems we've had had not necessarily been at the polling stations where legally counting is done.
Okay.
Yeah. The problems we've had has been at the coalition centers.
Okay.
Right? It has been at the coalition centers. Now, listening to NDC, it is not only the 3 p.m. that they are rejecting, but the Electoral Commission is saying that they will institute an IT backup system that from the coalition centers will enter the results, which will take the responsibility from the nationals. So whatever is entered at the coalition center is what the regions will have, and it's what the national will have. Actually, that should be rejected.
Why not?
If you want an IT system, the IT system should start from the counting. That will finish the counting.
Okay. I mistook the coalition center for the counting. The counting place.
Elections takes place at
the polling
stations.
Okay.
Elections takes place at the polling station. It is the problems we've had is when the results begin to travel from one location to another. Oh, Charlie, how much did we get from here? Okay, no, we are short over here. Increase it. That is where the problem is. That is where the problem is. All this problem has been the manipulation between the coalition center
and the polling station
and the headquarters.
Oh, okay. Between that place.
Most of the time, what will happen at a polling station center will either be overvoting, double voting. Are you getting me? But when it comes to the polling station, I think we are, or probably vandalism. People can beat people up and all, snatching of ballot boxes and other things. That is what has been the problem. But they've not impacted on results like changing of figures at the coalition center, the regional, and what we witnessed at the just ended election. The solution that is needed is to be able to get a system that automatically counts as ballots are being put in place. Or we finish with count at the polling station. We are putting results in a system where people can see
imputation done there,
and that should be what we shouldn't even have, especially when it comes to the national elections. The coalitions that are only coming because of the MP or whatever. But we should have a system. The result for the president goes straight to the headquarters. What is the need for the regional? Do we declare elections based on regional? No.
Ashanti region MPP won.
It makes no sense. Are you getting me? So if you are coming to tell me that you're closing early to allow for counting to be done, we've not had a lot of problem with counting at the polling station. The problem has been the coalition centers, and that is where manipulation is done. That's where manipulation is done. So if you want to solve the problem, eliminate the bureaucracy, the delay that you are putting in place between the coalition center and the region, and again to the you want to put in place a system that will not call on you to testify again. so that you said, okay, these are the results we got from the
I didn't do
the tabulation. The tabulation was, and it's going to involve a lot of law changing in law. It's going to involve a lot of change in law, because as our laws are set up, for instance, the law makes the commissioner the sole announcer of the winner, and you must satisfy yourself that the results that are coming reflect what has been. And we know it, I mean, to a large extent, if anything, Archie, in my view, we should be looking at systems that will eliminate more of the tablet. Look, we should not get to a point where we enter results at a polling station. If collation is done, it must reflect the aggregate of what has been entered at the polling center. So you are in the police station A, you enter. It's showing on the collation board. Okay, it's showing on the police station A, you enter, because it is difficult to be able to manipulate results once counted over there. Are you getting it? So now everybody is witnessing. You know, you have 38,000 police stations. I mean, nationally. Kwesi Mintim constituency has 58 police stations, or 1,000 decent police stations. Why can't we divide a system that automatically, if we want to introduce this thing, they will tell you they are remote area. We have solar systems in place. We have solar. You enter a situation, mobile phones are used over there, right? Even the what they call it, the verification.
It's all using. Internet,
I don't know. So let's find a way. We enter the results at the police station. Entering is reflecting at the coalition center. Entering is reflecting. When the ballots come at the coalition center where they are supposed to be stored for safekeeping for a period of time, we can cross-check, and all we need to do is make sure that what has been entered electronically from the grassroots is what
is appearing there.
Is what we are.
But you are here saying all this. What has the NDC actually asked for? Are they asking for what you are suggesting now?
Well, actually, it's up to them to decide whatever they ask for. But I support them that the closing of 3 o'clock, because it has no bearing. It does not pose a threat. Closing 3 o'clock does not pose it. In fact, it will do more harm than good.
Maybe they will increase the number of polling stations.
No, actually, it will not help. Increase the number of polling stations. To what?
So maybe if there's 50 in a particular area, maybe you make it 75. So less people will be going to that particular point to go and vote.
What are the cost implications? What is the real motive? Why? No, I mean, actually, so far, right? Germans has not made a case to say why closing 2 hours early would enhance transparency. I've not seen it. They were not ready. I've listened to what they've submitted. I've listened to what they've been campaigning about. I've listened to the kind of PR, the propaganda, what they call the kind of news briefing that they are dropping to the DC. I have not seen a convincing evidence to say that there's a compelling case that because we closed at 5, these happened. To mitigate this, we need to close at 3 o'clock to eliminate this problem.
None.
I tend to be corrected, but I've not seen it. I haven't.
Interesting.
Honestly, I haven't. I haven't. I want to be corrected and I want to be educated. If someone can give me a compelling case, why we should close at 3
instead of
5 o'clock, what difference does it make? They should tell us.
Well, the one good thing that I saw from there was the fact that there's going to be continuous registration of voters. But there again, I have a problem.
That's a law. That's a law that was passed in 2012. Part of the 2012 amendment was to allow for continuous registration.
But the issue is, so this time around, there's not going to be like, oh, now we've opened registration for
there will be mop-ups. There will be mop-ups. But what is happening is that they are allowing for instance, I can go to a district. Let's assume I'm not on a register now. I can go to the district electoral commission to register.
Necessary verifications. And
it's just like today. You can be here if you are not on electoral rule. You can just log on to the system with yourself. So that we take the pressure off. I mean, when the windows open.
But when on that one, how do we take away underage registration? How do we get rid of that? Because people can come in and say, whatever, and then
that is one area that we actually are lacking, in my view. But it's going to take time. we're a very dishonest society. That is one. We are a very dishonest society. That is the truth. If we get to a point where we can link school records to some of these registration, which again will mean data, a lot of data, and I think we're getting there.
Okay,
we're getting there. It will start with the proposal that I don't know if they're going to do it now. Birth and death registration. Birth and death registration. If they can do that, where our data is to a large extent linked, I think it will help us. If you look at Ethiopia, is it Ethiopia? Ethiopia have just they've started embarking on a project now, which is to be able to register. They are using the blockchain technology, a decentralized registration of all students. So the whole country student will have their unique IDs, linked to a central system. Just like the way in this country we have the NHS.
Yeah.
If I go to Bolton for now, I go to Nottingham, and I'm ill, and I'm rushed to emergency over there.
Yeah.
And I give my NHS ID or mention my name, they'll be able to even find my medical records. What Ethiopia is aspiring to do is to have a system that captures all the students across the country with their unique number. Once you're able to do that, you create a system where you know who has graduated, you know what even they are studying, you are able to track them. When it comes to implementation of even like the free SHS and other things, you are able to use those data to even make, because you collect a lot of data. Data is part of what the solution will be in my view, and I think we need to do a lot more on that.
Okay, we need to do a lot more on that. Yes, on this afternoon's Roots of Africa. I know you are hosting something, but can you give a bit of a build on that?
Tomorrow there's going to be a very big event, which is Idle Health Business Forum, which is going to take place tomorrow, and under the theme Post-COVID Healthcare Investment Opportunities in Africa. So now COVID is come, what are the investment opportunities in Africa? So Idle International Network, under the umbrella of its business arm, ABC, will be hosting a program tomorrow. Now, some of the speakers will be Dr. Julian Kanku Mbuyi Kambobi, that the senior medical director, who will be the guest speaker. We're also going to have Miss Henrietta Wamala, who is going to be our guest. She's going to help moderate that program tomorrow. She's a leader and an entrepreneur. And then we're going to be having Miss Linda Nsaba Bera also tomorrow, who is going to be a panelist. But this afternoon we're going to be hosting Linda and Henrietta on our show to talk more about what we should expect, why the program, and what people should be looking for, how you can get involved in that program tomorrow. It's going to be a Zoom program. You have to register to participate in it. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We have to break the chain of the chiefs to be able to do this. Next week the chiefs will return.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listeners, that is Mr. Frank Davis for you. Make a date with him this afternoon exactly at 3 o'clock when he brings you the Roots of Africa. And this time around we're having Miss Henrietta Wamala and Linda Nsabarera. Okay, I hope I pronounced the names nicely. And it's exactly at 3 p.m. UK time. But let's cross over to our money man, Mr. Tabiri.
We need the money.
Yes. Going to talk to you about Ponzi schemes, because was it yesterday my message was saying I've had a text message from Royal Mail. They said, oh, you have to pay £1.30 something.
It's double pound. It's double Ponzi. That's a double Ponzi. That's a double Ponzi.
So you need to be aware. So we cross over to Mr. Tabiri. Stay tuned.
Pressure coming your way again this Friday afternoon.
Yes. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great by God's grace.
Thank God for that. Okay. Now, it's an interesting topic that you picked today that you want to address, because you said those are some of the questions that people have been putting to you. Yes? So, Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, so this is something that, should I say, we have been afflicted with for quite a long time. You know, the Ponzi schemes and the pyramid schemes have been around, you know, since business and money, you know, as forms, using currency and all that as forms of mediums of exchange. They've been around us for a long time, and you know, they come back, they go and come back to us in various disguised ways and forms, but essentially they have the same characteristics, and a lot of people have fallen victims to some of these schemes, and so I've had questions come to me regarding Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes, and I thought we might take the opportunity to educate listeners on what these schemes are, and to be able to watch out for them and to know exactly what they are investing into.
Wow. Listeners, that's Mr. Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services. For all your accounting issues, money issues, he is a man to see. Okay, so now let's address it. What makes a scheme a Ponzi one?
Well, Ponzi schemes are usually are based on fraudulent investment management services. So you have a situation where investors contribute money to a portfolio manager who promises them a high return, and then when those investors want their money back paid out, it becomes an issue, because what happens is that the investor really, there's no real investment activity going on in the scheme. What they do is that they collect your money and pay you a high return. So the more people he's able to get into the scheme, then he's able to continue paying those high returns up until a point where you know, he's got enough money or enough in his portfolio that he thinks that he cannot afford, or he can do away with the scheme. Then what mostly happens is that before you know, the person, as happened in the Piram, as you mentioned, the person just goes with the money and the company closes down, and all the scheme and the investments come crashing down, and people lose their money. So that's what the Ponzi scheme is based on. Essentially, there is no what we call no real investment at all. A case at the moment, there's a question to be asked whether a recent case in Ghana, which we are all familiar with, which we refer to as NAM1.
Yeah.
For example, would you call that a Ponzi scheme or a real investment? As far as we are aware, people were made to believe that there were real investments taking place in the form of gold. I do not have the details to be able to certify whether that is true or not, but the high returns that were paid characteristically you know, shows that this might be possibly a Ponzi scheme, and one that is not real. The attraction there is the high interest and the high returns that is being paid out. And what people find out is that so long as you know you keep paying, so long as they keep paying the returns and the interest, people are attracted, and you find that people getting these returns are so want more so much that what they have even received they put back into the scheme. And so they eventually, when the person takes their money and runs away with it, everything is gone. So that's the situation we find ourselves in at the moment. The most famous Ponzi scheme in recent history had to do with a gentleman called Bernard Madoff. He took away about 5,000 clients' money into his account and spent it lavishly and blew all the money. I think Bernard Madoff died in prison. He was sentenced to life. He died in prison, I think, about a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So that was a big Ponzi, a big scheme. And ever since, we've had several of these other people have modeled this and tried to repackage it and present it. But the simple or the common thread in all these schemes is a high interest being paid, which in most cases is unrealistic because you will not invest in there's no other avenue that you can invest that can give you that high investment return.
Interesting. Listeners, Star Radio UK, the Money Hour with Mr. Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services. For all your accounting issues, you have to get in touch with him and he will help you on that front. Today we are looking at Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, and all those schemes that are there. So follow us. If you have any questions, please feel free. You can call in and add your voice to the discussion, ask your question, or text or WhatsApp us, and I promise you I'll be putting your question across to him. Mr. Tabiri, now, so what is the difference between the Ponzi scheme and the pyramid scheme?
So the pyramid scheme, Ponzi schemes and pyramid schemes, both of them have similar characteristics around them. One, individuals get attracted by investors who promise them extraordinary returns. In contrast to regular investment, these types of schemes can offer consistent profit, and only as long as the number of investors continue to increase. Things start to wear off once the number, the rate at which people are joining the scheme start to drop off. Then that is where the investor or whoever is the promoter now start to think about the exit strategy, how to get out of the scheme, because then it shows that the scheme is about to collapse. Ponzi schemes are outright fraud. Ponzi schemes are illegal in many jurisdictions around the world. So Ponzi schemes are illegal, and if they are all underground, they are in unregulated markets, and so you have to be very careful. The key thing here is that if the offer on the table is too good to be true, then you have to be careful, because people are lured or induced by the high interest payments that are being made. A pyramid scheme in itself sometimes can come in the form of what they call a multi-level marketing business model, where members sometimes are asked to pay a fee to invest in a business, and then they are in turn promised, various amounts of payments for recruiting other people to likewise invest in and join the business. Sometimes these pyramid schemes, involve the sale of products, and occasionally you might find that there are some reputable products on the market that are attached to the scheme. Just to give it legitimacy, or to give it, a covering away from the pyramid scheme. But essentially, if you look at what these schemes are, they all promise very high returns. They all promise very constant profit. And these are high risk investments, and yet it's presented as if there are no risks attached at all, and you'd only reap profit. There's no legitimate business which would give you high profits without any risk. So if you are entering into any of these, you have to know that there are dangerous risks that you might end up losing all of your investment. And one thing I would like to say also is that about the pyramid scheme is that it depends on when you join in the pyramid. So if you join the pyramid at the top, you might enjoy the benefits of the pyramid for longer, because people who join later on under your network, you would be able to benefit or enjoy the proceeds from their investment. But if you join the scheme at a much lower level of the pyramid, then you are much closer to the point where the pyramid is going to collapse, and that is where the danger lies. So definitely, personally, I wouldn't, put myself into any pyramid scheme, because I do not know at what level that my investment is going to be placed and what risk I'm putting my investment in. So pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes, people have to be really, really careful about what they have been offered.
Okay, interesting. Listeners, I hope that you are being educated. Like we told you, we edutain. So we not just entertain you, we educate you as well. And this afternoon we have Mr. Dan Tabiri, CEO of JL Accountancy Services, our money man, educating us on Ponzi and pyramid schemes. Now, this brings to a question here, which most people who are listening to us are eager to ask. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin. Is it a Ponzi scheme? Is it a pyramid?
Right. So, okay, before we look at Bitcoin, let's look at to help us answer that question.
Okay.
What are the characteristics of a Ponzi scheme that we look at? So, one, it offers high returns with little or no risk. Two, it offers overly consistent returns. So they'll tell you every week you get your money, you get this amount, and or every month you get this amount. Usually, always Ponzi schemes are with unregistered investments.
Okay.
So they are not on any known market. They are not regulated by the XDA, for example. They are issued or they are run by unlicensed sellers. So it's all done, in secrecy. You won't have a high street, bank or investment office, selling or advertising or displaying this openly. It's usually done by word of mouth, where there's no trace to this, because it's an illegal activity. And then you also find that when at a point when you want to take out your investment, it's always difficult. They will put in your way impediments to stop you from taking out your investment. So these are the main characteristics of a Ponzi scheme. None of these actually relate to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, like other what we call cryptocurrencies or digital currencies, are currencies that are traded on markets, on currency markets, just as we have dollars, euros, CDs, or any other currency in the world. But Bitcoin is digital. Bitcoin is not issued by any central government. Bitcoin is also, an investment that is a high risk investment because it has high return. Bitcoin can be used to purchase any commodity. So if for example I want to purchase a car and the seller, access to take payment or consideration in a form of Bitcoin, it can be used as a medium of exchange. So Bitcoin there are other cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin has risen to the top and has become very popular because of its special characteristic in the way that the Bitcoin is mined. So Bitcoin, in effect, to answer your question, Bitcoin is not a Ponzi scheme, but it's a high risk investment.
High risk investment. So I know. You don't have the legal back, you cannot tell somebody to go and invest there. Will you advise people to take the risk and invest there?
Well, that is what you said. It depends. It's a high risk investment. it depends on what your risk appetite is.
Okay.
Bitcoin price at the moment is very high. It used to be higher than it is currently. So, and the trend, they'll tell you that the market trend shows that it's very volatile. It goes very high one moment and drops very low the next moment.
Yeah.
So you need to know what you're doing, and you need to know at what point to join. To buy Bitcoin and at what point to sell. You need to know what you're doing in this market. Don't just go in, because everybody's talking about Bitcoin. Understand what the risks are before you do it. Yeah.
Okay. One Bitcoin today, I've just checked it, is at 39,453 pounds. That's the value for one. Okay. Yes. So it's quite a big investment there.
It is a big investment because a lot of people have put money into it, and the demand for Bitcoin is very high, and the value is determined by demand and supply. So as more people demand or want to buy Bitcoin, the higher the price goes. So if you've got Bitcoin, then you can sit back and watch other people drive the price up for you. So yeah, it's like any other investment, but high risk.
Okay, like any other high risk investment. Thank you. Before we run up now, if somebody is finding themselves in some of these Ponzi schemes, now what do you think they should do at the moment to get themselves either out of it, or can they report to maybe the regulator or the SPAA, as you said? Can they report something of the sort to them to see whether they can retrieve their money or cut their costs or their losses and just move on?
Yeah, Ponzi schemes are illegal, so I would advise you to try and do whatever you can to take your investments out, and then perhaps you can report them to the FCA, so they can stop, duping other people.
Okay.
But by all means, try and get your investment out first, because you don't want to alarm them to run away with your money, because these things are run underground. There are no official sources where you can go for redress, and because they are illegal, if you go and you lose your investment, it's not supported or guaranteed. By the government or anybody. You've lost your investment, and that's it.
A friend did make a statement. He said, if you use fake currency to go and buy cocaine, and you are swindled, you cannot report to the police. So something that, if you are listening to us, take a cue from that and make sure that you are doing things that is above water. Okay, Mr. Tabiri, your final remarks, and then you can put your contact details and everything across before we bring the program to a close.
Yes, so my final remarks are, we should not be afraid to go to look at various investments on the market, but make sure that you go to the right person, you go to the right source. Don't be greedy and be attracted by overly consistent or high returns, because that is the attraction. That is the way they attract people to invest in these things. Go to the right places, get there. If you can even approach your bank and then say, I've got this amount of money and I want to invest it. Where is the best place to do it? And there are financial advisors in there who can show you what the options are and what the risk and the returns are on various investments, and then you can make the decision. If you want any advice on any of the issues that we've discussed, I'm happy to do so. You can contact me on 07961248834, 07961248834, or you can reach me on email at dan@gilaccountants.com.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prum Prum Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
I do me a shrum, yeah. You know they say I be better past anybody. They say we're sure.